So I want to take a break from discussing the usual light side, dark side, Jedi Sith lore, and instead focus on another prominent group of Force users within the Star Wars galaxy, witches. Believe it or not, witches were introduced into the Star Wars universe all the way back in 1985 and to this day continue to be a prominent Force sect alternative to the usual stories of light and dark. We've seen witches appear across Star Wars media in the animated series, in live action, in the games, books, and comics, so today I want to discuss everything there is to know about the different witch covens of the Star Wars galaxy. Starting off with probably the most well-known witches in Star Wars, we have the Nightsisters. The Nightsisters were an ancient order of magic-wielding women that lived and operated out of the planet Dathomir, originating from the ancient Dathomiri in the far galaxy. At some point in their history, these witches would travel to the known galaxy and claim the planet Dathomir as their own, naming it after their Dathomiri roots, and form the Nightsister Coven. The witches were drawn to Dathomir due to its strong dark side presence and the magical ichor that flowed from the depths of the planet, which they would utilize to perform their arcane magic. And before we continue, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more Star Wars content. The Nightsisters were a matriarchal society that ruled over the subservient Night Brothers, the males of their species. Though the Nightsister clan was mostly made up of Dathomirian Zabraks, other species could be integrated into their ranks. While there were multiple classes within the clans, Nightsister positions included Initiates, Acolytes, and the ruling clan mother. Initiates would begin training as children to master their power over magic and would undergo a test to officially join their ranks once they were of age. The test would require an initiate to harness the power of the dark side to subdue a powerful, strong-willed creature known as the Sleeper and bring back a part of its body to be converted into a green healing liquid known as the Water of Life. While not all Nightsister initiates made it out alive, those that did were formally inducted into the Coven. Throughout their history, many different Nightsister clans would form throughout the planet Dathomir, operating separately from one another in harmony until the rise of Clan Mother Talzin. Talzin's reign marked the golden age of the Nightsisters, unifying the separate clans into one single clan under her leadership. Similar to the Force, Nightsisters regarded magic as a living thing that flowed through their veins and arose from blood, trees, and mist, materializing in the form of green energy. Though often regarded as dark-sided, Nightsister magic was an aspect of the Force that drew its power from both the light and the dark side, with a major part of their training consisting of mastering their power without losing control and giving into the dark side completely. While their powers and abilities varied from member to member, Nightsisters could use their magic for healing, communicating across the galaxy, physical enhancements, possession, and doll magic. Their magic could also be used to conjure physical objects, invisibility potions, energy barriers, and bursts similar to Sith lightning, and teleportation. Along with their connection to the flora and fauna of Dathomir, it was said that the ancient Dathomirian Nightsisters tamed and even rode rancors into battle. The most powerful Nightsisters that we know of, such as Mother Talzin and Old Daka, could even rival the powers of the Jedi and Sith, utilizing their magic to extend their lifespans and reanimate the dead through the chant of resurrection. It's because of these abilities that the Nightsisters would eventually become a target of the Sith during the Clone Wars era, resulting in the Battle of Dathomir and destruction of the Nightsister Society, with very few survivors remaining. Thankfully, this would not mark the end for the Witches of Dathomir, as the Ahsoka series teased the return of the Dathomiri Great Mothers to the known galaxy in the New Republic era. Aside from Mother Talzin, other prominent members of the Nightsister clan include Asajj Ventress, Merrin from the Star Wars Jedi video games, Sheelish and the Assassin Deathstick from the Star Wars books and comics, as well as Morgan Elsbeth. While it's not necessarily clear if men could be taught to wield Nightsister magic, I don't think it's impossible. Ventress put Jedi Master Quinlan Vos through Nightsister initiate training in the book Dark Disciple, even requiring him to attempt to tame the Sleeper. In the game Jedi Fallen Order, Merrin made a deal with the fallen Jedi Terran Malicos to teach him the ways of Nightsister magic, and in Jedi Survivor, Merrin gifts the Jedi Cal Kestis a Nightsister charm that allows him to access their power of teleportation.
Nightsisters and Jedi do not travel together, but survivors. We adapt.
Out of universe, the Nightsisters were first introduced in the 1994 Star Wars Legends novel, The Courtship of Princess Leia, with author Dave Wolverton expressing that he sought to create a set of powerful female figures in the Star Wars universe that had been dominated by men at the time. The Nightsisters' official on-screen debut wouldn't happen until 17 years later with the Clone Wars Season 3 episode Nightsisters in 2011, with the design for Mother Talzin taken directly from Ian McKeag's Sith Witch concept art for the villain of The Phantom Menace, which would later evolve into Darth Darth Maul. But before we get into the other witches of the Star Wars universe, I want to take a moment to discuss the origin of the Nightsisters, the Dathomiri. The Dathomiri were an ancient extragalactic civilization from the far galaxy, active on the planet Peridia, home to the Witch Kingdom of the Dathomiri. These witches predated the Jedi Order and were introduced in the Ahsoka series along with the Dathomiri Great Mothers, Clothal, Actropah, and Lachesis. The Great Mothers wielded magic very similar to the Nightsisters, with the ability to conjure physical objects, imbue beings with their power, and reanimate the dead, though I believe they may also possess the true power of resurrection.
Death and resurrection are common deceptions played out by both Nightsister and Jedi.
The Great Mothers also claim to be able to read the threads of fate and destiny. At some point in their history, the Great Mothers entered a hibernation sleep and a war erupted in the far galaxy, rendering Peridia and the rest of their galaxy dead and barren. Eventually, the Great Mothers would be reawakened by the exile of Grand Admiral Thrawn, an ally with Thrawn for passage to the known galaxy, along with mysterious cargo from the catacombs of their fortress on Peridia. From the Great Mothers' names to the orbs they wield, connected by red energy, the Great Mothers took direct inspiration from the fates of Greek mythology, who read and determined destiny by spinning, measuring, and cutting the threads of fate. Moving on from the Nightsisters and the Dathomiri, the planet Dathomir was also home to many other witch clans, such as the Singing Mountain Clan, Blue Coral Divers Clan, the Howling Crag Clan, and the Nardithi Nightsisters. But the group I want to focus on next is the Mountain Clan. The Mountain Clan operated in the mountains of Dathomir as a matriarchal society led by a singular matron, but unlike the Nightsisters, they didn't utilize or worship the dark side of the Force. The witches of the Mountain Clan followed a non-violent and non-confrontational path, never seeking out their enemies and only fighting when they were required to defend themselves. In the event a member of the Mountain Clan was forced to use their power, it would materialize as a light blue or white energy. While the true extent of their power is currently unknown, the Mountain Clan matron was able to utilize magic to create energy barriers, teleport, and even send a shockwave capable of destroying CIS battle droids. She also possessed the ability to see into the future, though due to the clan's non-violent beliefs, it's unclear whether or not all of its members could wield magic.
You must not assume, just because someone does not want to fight, that they are not capable.
The Mountain Clan was first introduced in the 2024 Tales of the Empire series, however, it's unclear if they have any relation to the aforementioned Singing Mountain Clan. Now, the final group of witches I want to discuss is the Brendok Coven. The Brendok Coven was a group of witches that operated on the planet Brendok during the High Republic era. Similar to the other witches of Star Wars, the Brendok Coven was a matriarchal society led by a singular mother, Mother Anisea. These witches viewed the Force as what they called the thread, not something to be used or wielded, but a connection between all living things that tied a being to their destiny.
All living things are connected by the same thread. A thread woven through all of existence.
Within their society, members would begin training as children and eventually partake in a ritual known as the Rite of Ascension, combining the strength of their power along with all the other members of the Coven. In the Acolyte, the thread was depicted as a cooperative and additive power, showing members of the Coven working together to produce stronger feats. The Brendok Coven had the ability to break the mind of a being by holding their victims helpless and on the edge of insanity, as well as mind control, both of which they could inflict upon Force users. Some members of the Coven also possess the power to disappear or teleport, resulting in a black mist. While the true extent of their power is also still unknown, it was considered dark-sided in nature. And while it's not directly confirmed, it's possible that Mother Anisea was able to utilize the power of Brendok's Force Virgins to create life, resulting in the creation of twins Osha and May. So if I hadn't made it clear by now, I really love the witches of the Star Wars universe. I love their unique views of the Force, and that's something I hope to see more of in future Star Wars stories. I want to see Lucasfilm continue to dive deeper into witches and expand upon these lesser known covens, further expanding the witch lore of Star Wars overall and magic in the Star Wars galaxy. Maybe even through a new iteration of the Star Wars Tales series, Tales of the Witches. Which of these witch covens is your favorite, and which group would you like to see expanded upon in future stories? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to follow me on social media at ScottyHolidaySW, and as always, may the Force be with you, and happy spooky season.